Hey all, Autumn here. I'm just going to kind of walk you through the rough outline of how our mechanic structure for heroic Shannox and 10-man works. Um, Really, it's just a really hardcore repetition fight. It's pretty scripted out. There's not much room for anything else. What you need to do is start out by making a 4x4, or a box rather, 60-yard intervals between all four pieces. This is done because the range between Shannox and Riplim cannot be more than 60 yards. This box was just thrown together after the raid tonight, but it'll serve its purposes. Also, we normally put the box over here on the right side, the south side of the road. Usually a peg's on the top of the road, but we feel it's just an easy spot. It's where I throw it every week. And it works out pretty good. So really, like I said, it's a fight about repetition. Your Shannox tank will start on purple, your Riplim tank will start on red. When Shannox gets to purple, it's usually when we start. So I guess I'll cover the Riplim tank first here. What'll end up happening is you'll straight out tank him on red square. You won't move. You'll see the spear throw, and the first one usually you do is we usually life grip the first one. Usually we dedicate our priest to healing the Riplim tank. We reset stacks. You never get more than 2 or 3, so the damage is pretty easy, but usually the priest just stands there for a lot of the fight. You don't take a whole lot of damage. Anyways, so when that spear marker gets down on red here, James rather, would get life gripped out to here. James runs up as far as he can. You don't use sprints or anything, you just kind of straight out run. The dog will have to hit you once before it turns and gets the spear. What happens when you get up here, you have Nemesis or one of your arcane mages. Just quick put slow on the dog, don't arcane blast him, just put the damn slow on him. As soon as he turns around, he heads back to red for the spear. I mean, already you're out ahead a lot of time. So the dog would come back here, he'll grab spear, he'll start heading for purple because that's where Shannox has been tanked this entire time, up this far yet. When the dog gets roughly about halfway, usually the back tank should call it out to kite because usually you have a lot of stuff in your face with the boss. Anyways, so the tank who is tanking Shannox will start to kite in more of an arc. You can turn it around and run. You cannot backpedal, or you can strafe, which is more suggested. You can still parry some shit. Anyways, you want to do a wide arc. This yellow one doesn't really matter. It's here just to kind of give you a sense of how far out you need to be. Don't run in a straight line because it's not good enough. The point is to keep Shannox constantly running. The point is, like I said, to keep him constantly running, because what happens, call it a glitch or a gimmick or whatever the heck you want to use, Riplim struggles to give Shannox the spear back. When Shannox is in constant motion, you'll see the dog charge up in our video, which I'm going to attach at the end of this, and he'll just keep charging Shannox, and he keeps trying to give him that spear, but if you don't stop, then the spear never gets back to him. And like I said, usually when you're if you do everything right up to this point, right about in here in the middle, stacks easily are already reset, usually on the tank by sure. Tank, usually sometimes they're off by purple when he's still on purple. But anyway, you're going to kite him in that arc, and you're going to want to land on green. At this point, let the damn dog go. It doesn't really matter. The spear can come back to Shannox. And at that point, you just want to hold your spot until the next spear throw. The other tank at that point, one thing you do need to keep in track is that 60-yard rule. If that dog gets rid of that spear early, or something happens and that dog comes back to you, you need to always pay attention to where Shannox is, because if he's at yellowish, then obviously he's going to get hawked and he's going to kill your tank. I did that a couple of times to Elmo, like our first week doing it, but like I said, it only took us like 4 or 5 pulls to get it. Usually what I do, the dog will come to me, I'll just kind of walk it back here, because you get plenty of time between the spear throws. Usually I don't step on till blue until the tank is on green. Like I said, it's exactly 60 yards. There's not a ton of play there. You do any more, you're going to hawk the dog. The next spear throw, you can do one of 2 things. You can just run out, or you can use commanding roar. I made this for a warrior who could intervene every one of them, but we don't have a warrior in a group anymore. But anyway, James will run out. He'll get some decent distance. The dog gets slowed, runs back to blue, gets halfway, you call it out. Hey, start kiting. I usually just say kite. It took John 2 pulls to get it. It's pretty easy. You do your wide arcer and you bring it back. What I really like about this is all your traps get to be used on Rage Face. Our group will always try to trap them on whichever side Shannox is currently on, or whatever. There's a trap over there. We'll get that, and then after that, even if Shannox is not ready to move yet, we'll have all the DPS shoot over to purple, even melee. This gives you more than enough time to get the dog resets. Tonight was kind of rough, but it only took us 2 pulls. But usually it gives you plenty of time to call out who the dog's chasing, and you get that face rage where he doesn't really build stacks anymore. And the other thing that we really like about this is the spear throws. They have no importance in this. They're at blue and red all the time, and the tank is never there. He's usually out before they land because the spear's got to travel so far, and he has so much time with life grip that nobody takes damage from them, so you stop eating all raid damage, and your third healer can just sit there and heal the face ragers who are going to have less stacks. The tanks are easier to heal. All around, it's a lot less damage intensive. But alright, I'll attach my footage and let you guys take a look at that. So this is our latest pull here. You can see Shannox is on purple, I'm on red. I started a little bit late. First one's a life grip, and I have a red crystal trap that I aimed for to put him in. I kind of screwed Twig over here for a little bit because he was trying to use that trap. And you see the dog's got about 20 stacks on him. But Shannox gives us a trap right there, and we end up throwing Rage Face in the trap here. At that point, you can see how the dog's running up here. John's kiting him across, but as you see, the dog cannot give him the spare. Shannox is on green, so I know I can be on blue without raging him. Toulouse dies here. I'm not too sure what caused that. Stacks might have been a little bit high. Here's where I'm a disgrace to all things Sparrow. DBM didn't go off and I wasn't watching my feet, so I get Crystal Prism trapped. Luckily the dog stays on me and it doesn't actually wipe the raid or anything, and my amazing DPS busted me out here in a second. So yeah, I get out here and luckily the dog's coming and he gets put right into a trap on the way back, and we have our entire raid move up to purple to give us the most time here. At that point, once again, moving him back to red. You can easily call out who's got, dog aggro or whatever. On this one, I'm commanding roar out. Like I said, you can alternate between roar and life grip, I do believe. At that point right here is where you'd want to tell your tank to kite. John takes off a little bit late, but it ends up being okay here. The dog still ends up chasing him because Shannox is moving. He doesn't get quite all that way, but when that happens, make sure you don't bring the dog to blue until Shannox is on green. One thing we gotta kind of work on here is our group didn't stay stacked out. We kind of get spread out a little bit. Once again, it'll be turn for life grip. I get way up front here, start having to curse the dog as soon as it turns around to make it slow. That's where James saves Twig. At that point, see, I'm telling everyone to get to purple, just kind of leave the dog alone and stop DPSing. It's going to end up face raging on Deegan, I do believe. So once again, it's more of a rinse and repeat. He's on purple, I go back to red. Once again, I get a Crystal Prism in the back, so I'm just going to use that to give our DPS more time, and the longer I can stay in one spot, the better off we are. Here we're kind of lucky, we get the double trap. I think we all move to green here in a second. This is where we could not save Twig, poor guy. But I throw him to BR while I'm tanking. Once again, you can see we trapped him at purple. Everyone moved to green. I took him back on blue. It's just rinse and repeat, guys. You'll see that John, it was only his second attempt ever doing this, but he left a little bit early again. You got to make sure to wait till that dog gets kind of close, else he just cuts corners like that and it makes it kind of hard to kite him. I mean, it doesn't really matter because you have plenty of time. Both of our stacks are already reset before the dog even got to them. But it's just one of those things where you want to be efficient, do as much as you can. This is where digging hits an immolation trap. Normally we ask our DKs to use AMS and walk over some of the traps, but he hit one and the healers weren't ready and he died because those things do hit pretty damn hard. We ended up losing a few more people, but somehow we still set a record. Once again, John kind of took off early there. He's already on green, but it doesn't matter when the dog's fetching the spear back. This is where I end up. I think we lose our healer on this one. That's kind of the rough part. If the ranged aren't in the middle of the map, because it looks like we're kind of up further by Shannox for some reason, it's hard to get face rage breaks. Usually you want to try to be in the middle, just moving side to side there. That one I don't think John really kited him at all. This is where I just start kind of hammering my cooldown buttons. Just stalling out because I don't have a healer anymore. Toulouse died and so did Astrolini. But luckily we killed boss before that spear lands, and yeah, it took us 2 shots.